Hello. Today we're going to play with some Cat 5e. Now I can tell, and you can tell in general, what type of wire something is by inspecting the cable jacket. And upon looking at it, I can see plain as day that it says Cat 5e. So there's two different pinouts used to create wire that makes continuity between devices. Older devices and router to router, switch to switch, etc. need crossover cables when they have older software, firmware, just different standards they're mechanized to handle. Straight through cable is when the wire is the same on both sides. Crossover cable is when it has a configuration of the pinout A and then pinout B. So pinout A is going to be white, green, green, white, orange, blue, white, blue, orange, white, brown, and brown. Pinout B is white, orange, orange, white, green, blue, white, blue, green, white, brown, brown. And you can see from this depiction that what has really been changed is the transmit wires. They have been crossed, creating a loopback address. So it creates a network between the two devices, essentially. So yeah, we're going to use this cable to create a keystone jack, punch it down. I'm going to demo. And we're also going to use our tools here and skills to create RJ45 jack. So you can tell from this crimping device that it has an RJ45 and an RJ11, 8 pins, 6 pins. So this side is to make our Ethernet cables, and this side is to make our telephone wires. This is to cut our cables. Just a little snip. Okay. So I'll cover this again later in another video. But the common tools that I'm going to describe now are going to be exclusively for our RJ45 connectors. So I have these little booties for each end. These need to be put on first before I do anything. I also have these little sheaths to go inside to guide my cables into the connector plug itself. These are my keystone jacks. Okay, so I'll snip myself off a little piece of sample cable here. And you can see in here, there's blades. These are all different types of snips. There's a snip. There's a snip. This is to cut only the cable jacket without nicking the internal braided wires. So the wires are braided to reduce crosstalk. As the data flows down the line, it is often met with collision due to outside interference, or RFI. Other networks, microwaves, fluorescent lights, things like this nature are what cause radio frequency interference. So this braided wire, as information travels down the line and circles, the centrifugal motion actually reduces crosstalk in the line, reverberating the signal back into the wire instead of letting it escape. You may have noticed as I cut this off, I did it very, very gently. I only twisted it once. This is a very sharp utensil. It was really only like a half twist. There's an adjustment right here for how taut the blade is to the bottom jaw. Anyway, I'll continue. So, snipping it off very carefully and even breaking it and then removing to ensure that none of my wires in here are nicked. If you nick a wire, even a hair, you are literally dripping information out. However, it only matters if it's on the transmit wires, theoretically, but as technicians, our ethical code should be to do the best job we can. So, this right here is another tool at our advantage or disposal when it comes to avoiding nicks. If I did nick this, instead of just starting over, I could pull this down and open up the jacket further and cut that off and try again. Okay, so now I'm going to create my pinout. So the first thing that I want to do is just go straight through. So I'm going to start with my white orange, which is this cream orange colored wire, and I'm going to straighten it the best I can, and then pull this as well, but away from it. So I have my white orange, my orange, and then I'm going to go to my white green, and then I'm going to come back and grab that blue. So white, orange, orange, white, green, blue. I can go ahead and get rid of this with my little cutters. And the next thing in line is going to be my white, blue. Then we're going to hit the green. Then the white, brown, and the brown. Okay. Just double checking here, ensuring that everything is correct, because if the continuity of the lines is mismatched in polarity, it will not transmit data in all of our time. Well, essentially, proverbially. Okay, so this is the fun part. So now, I'm going to use my cable sheath to guide. Actually, I've decided against this. I'm going to gently cut everything off. There it goes. And now the key to this step is to get it down on the wire. You see how close that is? Now, the next thing I'm going to do in this procedure is I'm going to check in reference. Now, I want this piece to be buckled down inside this tooth when I crimp it down in there. So that means it needs to be cut directly above here, because my continuity comes from these teeth being punched into these wires. So, I'm going to say that this is my crossover, or straight through. Have you been paying attention? That's right, this side is straight through. And that is why I've grabbed an orange. Alright, so referencing, and now when I crimp this down, I want to make sure it gets crimped to the jacket. So right there would be perfect. So the other tool that I like to use, since it's hard to reference once I move, I like to slide my guide up in reference additionally. Once I've found that it is fit, okay, now the most critical and important step, make sure that your lines are going the right direction. You want it to go from left to right with this side. You always look through this window. I'm going to reference again before I stick him in there. I think it'll be a go. So, here's side A. We can push him down and we see the ends poking out on this side, which is a good sign. I don't know if you can tell, but you see the tooth that is not yet punched onto the wire? That is what we want. So, before I can do anything, I need to punch this side down. So I'm going to take my crimping tool, and I'm going to RJ45. So, let's insert this in, push, and push. And now, I have activated it. This end has gotten terminated into those wires with success. Just for good measure, alright. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the other side. But this side will be continued in another video.